Your reputation is formidable.
Still trending #1.
We're going up to that college to see my son.
I love your show, man.
Hey, you guys.
Too sober for this shit.
Compound
Bees?
Sophomore year's gonna be lit.
Bees?
Welcome back to Compound B, a show about the boys. I'm Magnum Mills, and I'm here with the Soupdeucer to discuss the first 3 episodes of Season 2 of Gen V, a spinoff of the boys. Soup, unfortunately, there's no Rodney Dangerfield or clone of Rodney Dangerfield or robotic Rodney Dangerfield, but we're still going back to school, man. Are you ready to do a back to school thing here? Because it's been 2 years. We're still not getting Season 5 of the boys until 2026, so very happy to go back to God You, man. Yeah, how you doing? You ready to go back?
Yeah, of course, man. Definitely back to school. I love that this is here to keep us, afloat until this new season of The Boys comes out. However, this is definitely a thing of its own too, so a nice little bridge between seasons here. And yeah, I was happy to have him back. I am at this point, after watching the first few episodes, still happy to have them back. So yeah, looking forward to the upcoming ones here too, But yeah, dude, how cool would it be to have Rodney Dangerfield on a show like this? What would his powers be, man?
Imagine if Dangerfield had been, in his prime now. It's just fun to try to think about kind of what role he would have played in a comic book movie. The closest he probably came was what, Lil Nicky? Would he play like the devil's father, basically, or whatever, like the OG Satan? Like, that's probably the closest he came. But you could have done something cool with him, man. Imagine like Rodney Dangerfield in a Deadpool movie or something.
I think he'd have to have some kind of power involving his bulging eyes. He has the big eyes, So
yeah, he did have the real big eyes, dude.
and he would make it look, he just had that look about him too, So I think some kind of power involving the eyes would be cool, for
Now you got
Danger.
me thinking about like Judge Doom and Roger Rabbit, man, when he gets all the bugged out eyes at the all. But that's
Yeah.
that was a tune, not a soup. They are different things here, so we're gonna try to stick to the soups, and we're gonna try to stick to the first 3 episodes of Season 2 of Gen V. But there will probably be a little bit of ancillary stuff. We hope you enjoy it. We hope you enjoy this overall episode of Compound B, a show about the boys. We are presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. You can find our content wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. We're on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff and on the web at dudeswatchstuff.com. Try to keep it nice and easy to remember, just like the flaps, FLAPS. We're not sure if the wings work, but the flaps are very crucial to our success. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please hit the thumb. And you should know that we're going to do a full spoiler affair here. This will be full spoilers for all episodes of The Boys and all aired episodes of Gen V as we record this. And that means episodes 1, 2, and 3 of Season 2. And if you're looking for spoiler-free, we will do a little bit of a breakdown of the episode by episode, but for the most part, we're just going to have an overarching discussion going through the first 3 episodes of the season. A lot happened. It all tied together, and there's going to be a lot of spoilers, so you have been warned. And Soupman, overall thoughts on this? Like you said, it's not The Boys, but it has some similarities, but it's been a long time since we've been to school. 2 years seems like forever. There's been so much stuff that's happened in the interim. How'd you feel overall after watching the 3 episodes? Was it about the meeting your expectations? Did it greatly exceed them? Did it maybe underwhelm you a bit? How'd you feel overall, kind of?
It was kind of right in the middle, I expected a couple of knockout blows there, man, and then you got to you can't just blow your whole wad in the first little bit, but you do expect to see some big moments, a couple of wow factors, and then all the glue in between. So I think they were overall like right there, pretty solid episodes.
It had a lot of work to do, probably, right? To you had to continue this story. People haven't seen it in 2 years. You had one of the main leads pass away. You had to write that in, and then you had to follow up Season 4 of The Boys while still kind of setting up Season 5 of The Boys. So narratively, that's just a lot of ground to cover. Maybe my one tiny complaint is we saw a great deal of this stuff in the trailers and the teaser, but that's kind of the nature of the beast. It does look like, I'd say, 80-ish% of the trailer was from the first 3 episodes, and since they drop them all at once, I think that's fair. But to me, it definitely felt like almost one giant-sized episode, or one movie. It's about the right length to just be like a feature-length movie, around 90 minutes or so. I didn't have a problem with that. It definitely makes for a good binge, but I will say these episodes definitely bleed together in my head. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but sometimes I'm like, oh, did that happen in episode 2 or 3 or episode 1 or 2? You know what I mean? For better or worse. And I've seen them a couple of times now. I enjoy it, but it definitely feels like, this is almost made for streaming a little bit more, right? It's not as episodic, maybe, or maybe they just write the first three episodes that way, knowing that they release them all that way. I don't know. Just definitely something that stood out.
Yeah, it's hard to give a frame of reference because that's how we watched it. Now, had we watched them one at a time and spaced it out like a week or whatever, then maybe it would be different. Maybe we'd have a different perspective on it. But I don't. I feel like it's just the way the show is going to go. Yeah, we could bundle the first three and they're going to bleed together because that's the way. But if you put them all together and release the whole shit, it could be the same thing, or it probably will be. But yeah, I agree. It is difficult to distinguish some things, especially with the first two, of these, and going into the third, maybe because it's more recent one that I'd seen. But yeah, it's hard to differentiate between was that episode one, was that episode two, or where was that? But at the end of the day, does it really matter? It's in there.
Well, that's what she said. And B, that's probably the main difference between this and the boys is here for better or worse, it's smaller, right? There's not as many big set pieces and that kind of thing. And in the boys, it's real easy to be like, oh, that's the one with the skating rink massacre, or the one where they try to kill Newman. In
Right.
early, like season 4, it was the same kind of thing a little bit for some of the plot lines. So you can always remember kind of the big stuff that happens in every episode. Here, it's like, all right, like for instance, they have a lot of conversations about Andre. And that's probably one of the biggest questions we had coming into the season. You had the death of the actor, Chance Padormo, RIP. They dedicated the first episode to him. You were wondering how they're going to do it. I think it makes sense considering they kind of rewrote the existing season. They didn't start from scratch. I thought it was respectful. I kind of like that they didn't try to do the thing, where someone passes like this and they'll like shoot the scene and show it in flashback, but you never see their face or something like this. I'm okay with them just telling it, right? I don't think I need to actually see them do this at some point. So I'm okay that the fact that they kind of just almost yada yada the end of last season to get us here.
I mean, to me, it just felt like we're right back, like it wasn't a whole lot. I know it's been, however, what, 2 years now?
Yeah, 2 full years.
And, and I, as much as I hate that 2 year gap, because you just, a year is long enough sometimes to have to wait for a new season, man. But I like it. And it was comforting, and it was welcoming. So, yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it's always tough when you have to kind of do things on the fly like that. So we get a bunch of scenes, especially in the first episode, where the characters kind of are talking to each other, basically rehashing stuff that they all saw, but they're doing it kind of necessarily to, you know, bring us into the loop, basically, because we're not going to see these scenes, I'm assuming, unless they do some sort of flashback episode or something like that, maybe. One thing I will say, that Gap does do a good job of helping them really lock down some of these effects. I know some of the blood stuff's always a little bit wonky because, who knows what blood ropes would actually look like. But most of the fight scenes and action scenes we get, I think, are really well done. There's not a ton of like crazy, like superhero power effects. It's mostly just smashing stuff. But I thought all of that looked really well done. Like the Jordan and Sam fight in the dorm. Like they just casually break TVs in half, go through walls, and it all looks really good. And it's not, like crazy comic book effects. It just looks like real life. But I thought they really nailed that aspect of it, and it makes it feel a little more grounded than the boys, maybe at sometimes.
Um, it's right there if it's not more. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree with the effects and whatnot, man. It wasn't anything too over the top. You're right, but there was some things. There was definitely some CGI
Oh yeah, no, I'm
necessary.
not. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying like they make it look kind of seamless. Like in Game of Thrones, when you would see the effects reels and you would realize just how much of the scene was actually CGI. A lot of the other like tents and stuff like that or background stuff. And here there has to be a lot of that going on, but they really do it in a very seamless way. Like the Vicor fight, same kind of thing. And I love those shots you get, just like the wreck dude whose like spine is basically broken. Like, oh, maybe he'll heal. Maybe he won't. Whereas in the boys, you get Homelander literally ripping someone in half. Like it just seems every year they have a challenge. Like, all right, what's a new way we can come up with for Homelander to kill people? Which makes sense. You got to keep it interesting. But that was the
Can't
one.
let it get stale, dude.
Oh yeah, when he tore Web Weaver in half, I just remember like being like, oh damn, dude, that was like, that was some shit. Maybe one of the biggest things we get here is we saw in the trailer this whole thing was going to be Odessa. Like Marie's got to go back, find out what Odessa is. Again, spoilers, but Marie is Odessa. That definitely I was surprised there, and I kind of like it. Again, they even lampoon it with the whole like that's where we get the fucking Frodo thing from about the chosen one narrative. So I like that they lampshaded a little bit like that. Are you cool with them kind of going this way? I'm not sure if this was like a retcon or where they originally intended to go, but I like the idea that there's more to it with Marie. So there almost has to be for a show like this, right? If everyone was just surface level, it would be a little boring. So there's got to be a little bit mystery, and I think they did a cool job of setting it up, and it could also tie into a lot of the Vought backstory, which I'm always interested in learning about.
Yeah, I think the one character that kind of was the elite, of the elite or whatever, in last season was Golden Boy, and now there's not one of those, somebody
Yeah,
like
Golden Boy was literally the Golden Boy. The chose like he
yeah.
was going right into
So
the seven, like all that.
now it's like okay, well now Marie might be not Golden Boy, but in that in that realm or whatever, the next one of those because I don't think there is there, who else would it be?
Yeah, the rankings seem fluid when they start. In the little intro, the montage, you see, I think Kate is one and Sam is two, but then Jordan is one. And like, I'm not really sure, again, how this ranking process works. I'm kind of, I don't really think that they're actually taking like a democratic vote or anything. I think it's just people, again. And we saw a little bit of that in season one when they're trying to pick people and like, manipulate the rankings for social media and maximum profitability. And that's always fun too, just the idea that Vought is still everywhere. I mean, Vought is everything in this episode. Even the idea like they trade one Vought hellscape for another. Vought owns the gas station Marie has the
The
fight
burger
at.
joint too, man. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen that one before. I think they own
The
Jitterbeam too. I
burgers,
mean, they
dude.
literally own like everything. Any ideas about like do you think Marie is a weapon? Like we saw in this Project Odessa, she's the only baby who lived. Like, do you think this is like really, really specific to her blood powers, or is it like more complex than that? I'm not quite sure, and I'm very interested. I mean, it seems to be a big part of the season they're going to be building up to.
Absolutely. It is a little bit. I think it's definitely a little more complex than that, man. There's of course she's a weapon, dude. Most of them are weapons, if they want to be. So it's about what, I mean, what's she gonna do? Is she gonna turn her? Is she gonna let herself be just a weapon or just be a weapon? I don't know, man. She's definitely a weapon. She throws fucking ropes, dude. She's throwing
Oh, it
ropes,
could do
dude.
more than that. I mean, we saw in season one she has the same powers as Victoria Newman. Do you think they're going to tie her in any way? Like, because we've never seen any other people with blood powers, and Newman even said she's never seen anybody else with those specific powers. So I wonder if we're going to get maybe a little bit of insight into her background. Obviously it would probably be a flashback or something. I don't think we're going to bring the actress in for a cameo or anything, but I think that would be interesting to learn if there is a deeper connection some way with that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. And blood powers could go in all kinds of directions. She might just still be. There's probably shit she has to figure out. If you can manipulate other person's blood, what's still in their body.
Right, I think that's what Cypher's talking about, right? Is it like the blood cells, the hemoglobin, like what is the exact mechanism that your powers function through, and that could impact how they work? I mean, we saw Newman; she was a head popper, right? And we see Marie, like she kind of does something to Vicor's heart. I don't know if she's coagulating the blood or just holding the heart or whatever, but she definitely does something. And we saw her explode a dude's dick in season one, and then Marie's arm.
Yep.
So she can definitely do like kind of the head popper thing. And that's probably the other big reveal. Not only is Marie Odessa, but Cypher was Dr. Gold. We see in the
Yeah.
picture there when she has the Aunt Pam meeting. I thought that was a pretty good twist. I mean, we're really curious as to what they're going to do with Cypher. They literally name him Cypher. They even call out the idea that no one has any idea who this dude is. It's a really deep cut. But when Emma mentions that, like, he worked at Vought in Mexico City, at one point, the boys did announce a spinoff, The Boys Mexico. So I wonder if that's going to be a little bit of a setup for that or something that they maybe do there. Do you like that idea? Because then I think maybe we can get some flashbacks and then we're going to see that there's more to Cypher, and that's how we kind of learn about him. I really thought it's an interesting character, man. I have some theories. I'll save it towards the end, some of the higher end speculation here, but I don't know, man. He seems again like a Cypher, but he's properly menacing without being too much. I like how he's kind of straight up with people. He seems to just kind of tell them the truth and not be bothered by it. So I thought that was all pretty badass. Did you like the twist and kind of the way they integrated Cypher into the show?
Yeah, man. I mean, that character, yes, he is menacing for sure. You know that this guy's not fucking around. But he's got that weird way. Like I don't know. It's
Right, you can't tell. He could be bullshitting you a little bit. Like he has this supreme
He's
confidence.
just got that poker face anyway, I guess, if you want to call it that. But yeah, man, extreme confidence for sure. You have no idea what the fuck this dude's powers are either, if he even has any. You would assume he would. I mean, at this point now we know that, yeah, he delivered Marie and was a doctor at the fucking
Whatever the clinic, they don't really name it. Just at the university, they
fertility
don't give like
clinic,
a
yeah.
particular name.
At Godalkin University, yeah, man. So there's a lot going on here, a lot to unpack, and I think the only way to eventually, I mean, if we don't figure out more about this dude by the end of the season, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck, Like I feel
Oh, I
like
think
that's
we have to. I think we
kind of
absolutely
has to,
have to, dude.
so I think Powers unveiled, and shit like that at some point, which will be cool, and there will be some, there's gonna have to be some kind of backstory, whether it be in conversation or flashback, or flashback. So
I think it's actually really impressive that he's intimidating as he is without us knowing what his powers are. The only time that you get like two little glimpses is when he's talking to Kate. I think it's in the first episode, and he kind of dares her, like, look into my brain, and you're not going to like what happens if you do. And then if you actually kind of like when she goes to touch him, he seems to kind of sense it, like Spider-Man style from behind. I don't know if he was just smart and anticipating it, or if like, he is kind of like a brain soup. Dude, if you actually pay attention, he's making the thing in the blender. We saw something in the trailer. It looks like in the blender there's like milk or something, and he adds like fried chicken to it, and then he starts adding stuff from these like unlabeled vials, like black like canisters. So I don't know, man. I think there's some extra stuff going on with him. I think he is going to be. We were wondering, is he just going to be a puppet for somebody else? It seems like he is going to be like a villain in his own right. I think, which I'm there for. I like the idea that he's not just going to be like somebody who Homelander is fronting or something. Like this dude might be dangerous on his own.
yeah, I mean, he's taking making a smoothie to a whole fucking different level, dude. That ain't your average smoothie right there. Who knows what that would do? So yeah, I feel like, and maybe at the end of the day, right now we feel like he's going to be the antagonist, the bad guy. Kind of is he? Is he not? Maybe he's a good guy. You don't know. What if a twist was like, man, maybe he's behind like some of the maybe he's against Homelander, or like behind some of the Starlight shit. Find that
Oh,
out at
that'd
the
be
end of it.
wild, dude. That would be wild if like he is secretly who like that's because that's one thing we'll get into in speculation, but we get to see with Starlight and she won't tell Marie who she's working with. That'd be a crazy twist if she was working with Cypher.
Yeah.
That would be really crazy, dude. I think that would be way up there. And then kind of the other final Marie twist is at the end of three, we find out that her sister Annabeth did eventually get adopted by Aunt Pam there. And obviously at this point, I don't want to get full into predictions, but we're going to see Annabeth this season then, right? They've been building this up way too much now. Like she has to be like a kind of a major player a little bit in some way, I feel.
Yeah, I would not be ultra shocked if we didn't see her this season, but I think that's something that's just going to kind of be on the table. You almost feel like right now you feel like you have to, like that character is going to get introduced, and it's going to probably be, it's going to be a scene. It's going to be one of those drama scenes, but who knows? Does she have powers?
Well, we'll get into that in speculation, but yeah, I kind of think based on the way like they talk, like her parents couldn't have Marie, all of a sudden they get all these treatments to get Olkin, and then they magically have another baby. I think
Right.
Pam even says something like that. Oh, she was the real miracle. So yeah, I think she is going to be way more integrated in this than we think. I think it'll probably be a new character. I was figuring just because we saw her when she was a child, so she is like an African American, a black female, so you can't really like I don't think she's Sage based on what we know, and there's really no other character that would fit that we've seen. So I think it has to be a new character, but I'm certainly interested in that. How about the Jordan Marie romance thing? I actually kind of like the way they played this. It was kind of like sweet. I definitely didn't see the Marie being a virgin thing, but I thought that the way they kind of approached it was very real and even kind of funny when she's starts just talking about like, oh, I never had the actual genital to genital intermingling or whatever. I thought they really handled that in a pretty good way.
Somebody
Yeah,
really
yeah, you know what I mean? It felt natural and kind of real, and I'm usually not a fan of like the romance stuff, and this is again playing towards a younger demographic, in college, so there's a lot of that relationship drama and everything. And I thought this was kind of a nice way to do it, really.
Yeah, it was cool. It goes back to the whole. It wasn't too much of it. It was enough to get his point across, and do what it needed to do, and not turn it into a fucking rom com, or a rom dram or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, yeah. Either of the whatever the portaments or whatever when you jam the two words together would work. Yeah, I mean, because there was a drama, right? That Jordan was pissed because Marie broke out without them or whatever. But then it eventually comes back around here, and I especially love the conversation they had where they're kind of chilling there and they're reminiscing about Andre, and she's talking about how stubborn he was, and she talks about how he was trying to break the Guinness Book of World Records for smoking joints. And we did a little math here, dude. That was 115,000 joints. So if you smoked one joint per day, it would take you about 315 years. 10 joints per day, then about 31 and a half years. You're up to 20 joints a day, it's about 16 years. If you could smoke 40 joints a day, dude, it would take you just under 8 years or so to get to 115,000. If you're
Was that the
awake
actual
16 hours,
record?
they can't keep that record because you have to. How big are the joints? Like, what is a regulation size joint?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
can't really like it's. And Guinness stopped tracking those things where people get intoxicated because they didn't want people killing themselves to pursue the record. Yeah, before the record, if you wanted to get to that in about 8 years, it's 40 joints per day. So if you're awake 16 hours, that's about 2.5 joints per hour for 16 hours a day, every day for about 8 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's
That'd be
pretty.
that'd be tough to operate like in
I
that
think at first
zone.
you could probably, yeah, when then you get used to it, but then like, dude, it'd be hard to maintain for 8 years. You'd have to be diligent about making it, I mean,
Right.
you'd
It
have to
would be a
feel like,
chore. That there's no way it wouldn't be a chore at a certain
yeah, it
point.
would turn into a chore. Yeah, it wouldn't be as cool when you're on like
No, you'd literally
7 fucking
you'd probably
years.
start doing hard drugs just for a change or something. Like, oh man, like this isn't doing it, or just like banging out some acetaminophen or something. And Soup, I know you've worked in the restaurant industry and currently do. What do you think about Jordan's dream first date at the Olive Garden with Marie?
I mean, when you're a college kid, Olive Garden is probably, you
All you
know,
can eat breadsticks are where it's at a little bit with that. She does
yeah,
both
yeah,
the
but they
breadstick
do have the
salad
good
is a good
breadsticks.
deal.
Yeah, they do have the good breadsticks there too. I'll give them that. I mean, Olive Garden's a change joint, but yeah, in those days, something like that I could see. Right now, man, I would probably definitely. It wouldn't be any chain restaurant.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially again when they just boil a bag pasta. Like you could that's like yeah, you could do that really. How about Kate? I think it's really interesting. We saw in the trailer the idea that she was bringing them back. It seemed to me that she genuinely was trying to help them, but I mean, she's just in a bad spot, man. I think the show is trying to bring her all the way down to the very bottom to get the redemption arc going. But dude, you get the points like you forget, the arm got blown up and they kind of hide it, but you can see they kind of tease it a little bit as it goes on. And then finally you see her in the hospital. That's pretty brutal. And then when you get the shot of her when she comes back and she takes off her beanie and you have that scar with the X and then the arm missing, and it's hard not to feel bad for her in that moment, right? Despite all the shit that she's done.
True, you definitely sympathize with the character at that point, man. And maybe she. I don't know. I feel like she is having a bit of redemption herself, or whatever, a little bit of realization herself on that, and kind of regretting some things, or maybe trying to come to terms with it in her own way. It might be making her a better person. It might not. We'll see.
Yeah, she's in a weird spot. Like even when she kind of seems like she's trying to help him, at the end of the first episode, she follows Jordan and Emma out to find Marie, and that's where they have the big confrontation. And she's like, I think trying to help, but then as soon as she realizes that Marie's seeing Starlight, she's like, "Oh, you have to tell Vaughn or whatever," and then she tries to touch him. So that's when they fuck her up. I didn't really feel that bad. Like even when Marie wants to help, and Emma's like, "Well, don't touch her." Like I'm kind of like Kate should realize, like, no shit. You remember what you did to them in the first season? Like, this really shouldn't be crazy to you that they're not they're not really into this right now.
Right.
Like they're not going to risk their lives for you after you just really, really just fucked them over. I mean, she obviously did some shit in the hospital there because that was kind of crazy. Like she took over the one nurse and made her stab the other one in the eye. And then I think at the end of the second episode, when Cypher walks in, you just see like blood everywhere. Like she definitely took some people out and she can't really control her power. So I'm curious where this is going, but I kind of like they took the idea of her just being able to like make anybody do anything off the board because then it's too easy to like, you know what I mean? Like roll shit back into a gotcha. Like, oh yeah, I was secretly making him do stuff the whole time, but they didn't remember. Like, I don't like that. So I like that they kind of took that off the board right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 'Cause if it went that way, and it would definitely be a possibility. I like that to not be a possibility because I wouldn't want that to be the outcome. Ultimately, like if it's there once in a while, you can make people do shit, yeah. But if it's like the Scooby Doo
Right,
fucking
the Fight Club twist. You can do it like once, basically. You can't like go back to the well and keep doing it. That was like the problem with Westworld a little bit. Kind of when they kept, trying to make it so intricate that you couldn't guess what was going on. It wound up being detrimental at a certain point because then like it didn't make any sense. Like and they just prioritized the wrong thing. And dude, how about Emma? I thought she has been maybe the standout overall performer over the first three episodes. She's gotten a lot to do, kind of various different plot lines. I thought it was interesting in the first episode, we saw the shot in the trailers of her getting thrown like a beer pong ball. We're like, oh, that seems like fun. And then really in the context of what you see it, like it's not really fun. She accidentally got little and they couldn't get big. And she saw the little like Hulu outfit that, it was fun. I liked it originally. I didn't pick it up the first couple times I watched. She has that scene in the mirror and she's just wrapped in toilet paper. Like, cause she couldn't find small clothes. So she's got a little toilet paper
Oh
and
yeah.
wrapped herself up in it. I like little shit like that. The scene she has when she's small and she runs through the party holding the full size phone over her head. I thought that was really cool and well done. And I hadn't really seen something like that too much before outside of a cartoon.
Yeah, I definitely dig that kind of shit, man. And I mean, why do you think she was buying 17 muffins?
I was curious because I'm assuming she was trying to get big again. I,
Right.
I was I was wondering that, because
But
then she
why?
goes right to the coffee with a straw, and I don't think that has anything. It seems like she's in more control of her powers now because I always had a question. Then like it was like if you consume X amount of stuff, you grow by this percentage or something like that. It seems like she has got more control over that now. But I like how she kind of took charge and she kind of really embraced the idea that she took a chance when she went to try to save Sam, really, because Andre, believed in her. And she passes that on. She brings it up both to Polarity when she goes to talk to him, when he already knows about Andre's death, but she tries to talk to him about it. Then when she kind of rallies the little Starlight Resistant girls in the third episode. So I really like the way they're going with her character arc. But my favorite bit has been teaming her up with Polarity. I loved all of that, dude. Especially when she accidentally starts rolling and they go to meet the Rememberer. That whole thing I thought was pretty much just gold.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just fun. I mean, the idea that this, Polarity, pretty solid dude, but then you go down there and this Rememberer dude is just so full of himself. But then the fact that she just happens to have watched his show, when she was a high school kid or whatever, just the way it pays
Well, she
off and
won
just
him over
how,
immediately, dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's so earnest, right? Because she is a real fan. And they kind of, you can always do the accidental drunk thing. It's a trope we've seen a number of times, but I thought they did a really nice job of it here. Like they started off nice and subtle. She's like talking about her hands and looking at clocks, but they pay it off because she finds the secret room because her weird, like rolling, tripping brain hears the fan.
Right.
So I thought that was like a cool way to actually make the drug trip, like, play into the plot a little bit more other than like, oh, isn't it funny that they're accidentally on drugs?
Yep. Yeah, I thought that was played pretty well, man, and it worked in one of those ways where it kind of all comes together. So reasons for everything, man.
Yeah, because we didn't think that when we saw her being big in the trailer, had no idea, like, oh, it's because she's like weirding out on drugs. And I have to say, like, I don't, get that many like super laugh out loud moments. But when she was just kind of honking her boobs, making laser noises, I'm like, my 10-year-old brain was, oh yeah, if I had boobs, I would totally touch them and make laser noises. Why would you
You
not?
would have to at one point,
You
man,
have
or
to
something.
you make laser noises with everything. Your finger guns, dude. You just make laser noises with stuff. It's really
Yeah,
fun.
man. I'm not even gonna tell you about the laser noises I make with some of my appendages. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, in the kitchen, dude, you gotta make a couple laser noises once in a while or something. Well, we'll leave the kitchen noises to yourselves. I did not think the secret room was going to be like a crazy Nazi bunker thing. That surprised me because that was pretty hardcore, dude. There was like all sorts of Nazi stuff, like KKK
Yeah,
stuff. Like,
no,
yeah, I was not expecting that, and we knew like Vought had some of that in their background, but that was just I don't know. It surprised me for what it was worth. So, and I like Emma. Kind of, I think she's gonna maybe be the leader of this new little resistance cell with Harper in them. And I remember Harper from the first season because she had the tail, and I like that just little scene where Emma's like, "I thought your powers were like tail," and she's like, "Oh, I'm the chameleon." Like she's talking to like the chicken predator.
that could be pretty cool. I mean, obviously your powers probably aren't just tail. I'd be pissed if that's what I got. Yeah, I got tail, dude.
Yeah, that's not. Well, that's kind of like the one, the Stacy chick or whatever, who's got the stinger. that's definitely
Oh, that
grimy,
sucks
but
too. Yeah, man. I
but I'm
wouldn't watch
curious this
that.
Harper chick, like, cause she can like mimic other people's powers. They're 100% going to use that definitely. Like that's definitely something that they're setting up for later, I think. So I'm curious as to see where they go with that. I like the idea of Emma kind of taking on a bigger leadership role. I think that could be pretty nice. As far as Jordan, do you like their kind of gambit at the end? Like, hey, they go back to the, Marie, all right, I love you, I'm going for it. And then tell the truth on stage about being, who hurt Kate, basically. That was a surprise, man. I think it sets up a really interesting place because, they're not really, they're trying to avoid like this soup on soup crime, so to speak. But Jordan's really challenging it here. So I thought that was a kind of cool twist to go with. It wasn't like, oh, the world's going to end or something, but it definitely kind of changed the stakes a little bit, right?
Absolutely. Kind of a big deal for sure, man. But real quick, going back to this one with the lady with the fucking stinger, right?
I keep want to call her social media. She's a student life Stacy. I think she's replacing social media Jeff. She seems like she is kind of going to be the worst, right?
Yeah, annoying as fuck for one, but also my problem right here is why don't you get, you're so worried about that fucking stinger. Why don't you get a sheath for it? Put something over that fucking thing. I mean, even if you need to use it, boom, take it out. Like you wouldn't carry around a fucking sword just like this. Put it in a fucking sheath, dude.
Or a
Put a fucking
cone. How about a cone? You get a little orange cone back
yeah,
there, dude.
anything.
Cone
Put
it
a
up,
fucking
dude.
muzzle on that thing, man. That way, if you need to fucking rip it off, boom, I got you. But I mean, if you're so worried about it, then fucking cover that fucking thing up.
Yeah, I
You just
think
got
she's doing
out
it
there.
intentionally. I think she's just kind
Not
of a
even doing it
bitch.
intentionally, man. I mean, get away from my stinger. Watch out for my stinger. Well, fuck man. Cover that fucking stinger, dude. It's irresponsible. Is what it is.
And then, dude, she hacked honey into that jar, and then you saw her tail like dripping. That was nasty.
It's
Or a stinger.
gnarly. Yeah, stinger's nasty anyway, man. Called a stink. Yeah.
She might have the best quote of the first episode, though, because the boys they lean on the insult. She had a pretty good one.
Golf clubs to Kate. She ball tickled like 11 people at Vought to get you released in time for move-in day.
Yeah.
I mean, ball tickling
Ball tickle's
11
a good
people
one.
is a
Yeah.
lot. That's a lot of ball tickling, dude.
In a row?
Yeah, probably consecutively. I would
Probably in a
imagine.
row, dude. Yeah.
I don't know if there's really another way you could do it. Overall, I thought Polarity was pretty great. We were kind of wondering what his role would be. He ended season one in a coma, and they kind of had to hurry him along a little bit because we don't have Andre now. So I think he's fulfilling some of his roles. But I thought, dude, fucking crushed it, man. I love it. In his house when he's a little drunk, you see all the pills he's taking. But then he comes in, he kind of charms Cypher, and then he gives that cool speech at the beginning of the class. And then obviously the scene with Emma and the Rememberer I thought was great. So high hopes for Polarity here, dude. Very, very excited. It is kind of nice. Like Emma hugged him like it's nice to have an adult. It kind of is though. Like maybe I'm just a little old, but it is kind of nice to have like a little bit of another contrasting opinion of a different age in there. We didn't see that a lot in season one. So I think that actually could be kind of interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And then I kind of felt like Polarity was going to be heavily involved anyway going into this, discussing the trailers and whatnot. I was like, dude, Polarity is going to be a big player. We also thought that he might not make it out of the season, so we'll see. I'm
I
not
still
sure
probably agree with both of those things. Well, let's
Yeah.
save that for speculation, but it does sound like if he's ready to go out, he'll probably go out in a big way. So, kind of looking forward to that. Again, very curious. Do you think Cypher knew, like when he came and applied for the job, and Cypher's like, dude, no one else even close to your stature applied for this? Do you think he knows what's going up? Like, that's the kind of thing I'm not sure about, and I think it'd be really interesting.
Hmm.
Does he actually buy it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Fuck.
Because they set that up a little bit. Like, does he really know that Marie and them assaulted Kate? Like, Marie assumes that he does, but you don't quite know. Like, they're playing it in a nice kind of like just the right amount of vague, I think. Like, it seems
Yeah,
plausible, but you can't, like, all of a sudden, like, get too far out ahead of it, more or less.
yeah, that's right there. Yeah.
One character I think they're struggling a little bit with what to do with is Sam. It feels like they're gonna have to make him spin his wheels for a bit because he's supposed to be like more powerful than Golden Boy, right? So if he really tees off, that's probably too early in the season. And now that Kate can't reset him anymore, he's I think in a bad spot. I thought he was fine in the first two episodes. I think the third episode's where you get kind of the puppet scene and then the scenes with Jordan, and I thought those were really good. I thought that was by far his best episode, and I like the idea, dude, that the talking sandwich scene in the puppet land I thought was just absolutely hysterical. Like when he throws it in the trash can,
Absolutely.
the trash can talks back. I thought that was really great.
Yeah, yeah. I love that kind of. I was looking forward to seeing the puppet scene because I knew it was there from the trailer, and I didn't know it would be in the first few, but I'm glad it was. Now there's more stuff that is still available out there that we haven't seen or have no idea of. Anyway, nice to get the puppet scene. I like puppet scenes. I like anything super trippy like that. It was super trippy. It was cool, and yeah, man. I mean, that's what I got, dude.
Yeah, I mean, all the Jordan Sam stuff I thought was great. Like when he starts flipping out, I thought the camera work was really well done in the initial parts. Like, you kind of get the idea how frantic he's getting, and then their fight was solid. And then them just kind of chilling, smoking bongs, and talking about Luke, I thought was just really nice. Like kind of simple, and I think it sets up the idea that Sam's going to go, seek out his parents at some point. But it made sense, right? Because you forget Jordan was supposed to be like really, really good friends with his brother, so I think on some level it would make sense that they, would kind of, I mean, I don't know how much time has gone, maybe 6, 8 months. Like people are still mourning. Like it takes a while, man. So I think somebody needs to like talk Sam down. It doesn't seem like it's going to be Emma right away. So, I like that concept, man. Like, again, I think they're setting up the redemption arcs ultimately for Sam and Kate, but they got to work it a little bit to get there, probably.
I definitely think the scenes between Jordan and Sam, particularly the one were very cool. Well, the fight scene was very cool too. Yeah, that whole shit as a whole was pretty awesome, man. So I would give that one of the top moments of the episode there. But I think these characters are definitely going in directions, and we're gonna see which directions they are.
Yeah, people are gonna have to make some choices pretty soon. I mean, that's what they're kind of setting up, is you can go both ways. And, in this universe right now, the whole narrative is they've really gone pretty hard on soups versus humans. And it's going to be hard to live in a gray area there, right? You're pretty much going to have to pick and choose a side. And it seems like they're setting it up that way. But obviously, season one, the big twist was, at the end of the day, Kate and Sam kind of turned on them. So we'll see if, maybe that reverses itself going into season five of The Boys. We talked about student life. See, the other main addition here, we saw him tease in season four of The Boys. How about Dog Knot, dude? I loved everything when they bring him on to the kind of the metal song there. Dude, he's sniffing. He's on all fours. He's hitting on dogs. He's just sniffing stuff. The way he fought Marie, I loved every part of it.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of him, man. He was a good scene there, man. He played the role well, man. What'd you expect out of that character, and that's what you would want out of that character right there. I'd like to see more of those powers. Just like I always say, I want to see more of deep in the ocean, man. Give me more doggy styling it up, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, he will. What is it? He'll up the little bitches for justice or whatever it is. Oh, he mounts little bitches for justice. Excuse me. Just excellent. I like when someone buys in all the way, and I think that's what Chance Crawford has done with the Deep as well. Yeah, so it's kind of similar, right? It's just kind of that animal adjacent. You wonder if he can actually talk to dogs or not. I am kind of curious about that, but I loved his whole approach. And then, dude, the idea that he in the boys universe is Dog, not the bounty hunter, cracked me.
Right.
I didn't think of that. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I legitimately cracked up upon hearing that. Of course, he's Dog, not the bounty hunter.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's brilliant, dude.
Now we just have to see what his wife looks like.
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
she's the chick who got small, but her boobs remain big.
Betty Big Ones, dude.
Well, I just remember that. Remember when South Park did the dog episode, and they had like Dog's wife. Her boobs were so big, like they covered half her face, and her
Yeah,
voice was
yeah,
like muffled like Kenny because she couldn't
yeah.
talk over her tits because they were so gigantic. Go with Christ, man. Go with Christ. Bear Mason people and everything. Oh, very, very classic episode of South Park. So, I don't know, man. Anything else kind of for the overall spoiler discussion here? I think we've talked on a lot of it. Overall, I thought they did a good job reintegrating the characters we've seen. You kind of bring Cypher in here as the one main new character. You get some fun cameos. We also saw, Firefly in there. Or excuse me, Firecracker. I keep wanting to call her Firefly for some reason. And, I like that Dog Knot's going to be recurring. I was a little worried he was going to be dead after that fight in the whatnot. So very glad that he's still out there. Overall, I can't complain, man. None of these were like an all-time epic episode or anything, but I thought it was a very solid start to the season.
I agree, man. Looking forward to the next one. I gotta wait a few days till that comes out. But yeah, it left me after watching, the beginning 3 episodes here, man, it left me wanting more for sure. And it's just classic Gen V. It's what you would want out of it. It's what I wanted out of it, pretty much. I mean, I have no complaints. It's all good shit. I love it. I'm down, man. They're doing the right thing.
Enough said. We're now just going to do a little bit of episode by episode discussion, go over anything we missed in the spoiler discussion, and then give out our episode grades and our rankings. You can't forget the rankings. The rankings are very important. So this is going to be a full spoiler affair for season 2, episode 1 of Gen V. This is New Year, New You, season 2, episode 1, the 9th overall episode of Gen V, released September 17, 2025, along with the first 3 episodes of the season, directed by Steve Bohm, written by Ellie Monahan. Special guest stars are Aaron Moriarty as Annie January / Starlight and Ethan Slater as Thomas Godolkin. Guest stars are Alexander Calvert as Rufus, Zach McGowan as Dognot, Peter Kim as Paul Lee, Lara Kai Chen as Kayla Lee, Stacey McGonigal as Student Life Stacy, Maya J as Justine, and Raisa Kondraki as Tiffany Meyer. That Soup, one thing we didn't get to talk about in the spoiler discussion that I loved, dude, opening the season with the flashback with the Frankie Valley, I thought was awesome. That was such a cool scene, wasn't it?
I agree, dude. Real cool scene. I love when there's a super terrifying or horrible massacre kind of scene going on like that, and it's got a song like that. Like, what is that?
Yeah, when the tones contrast directly.
My mind up, totally, total contrast, tonal contrast, man. I love that shit, dude. Or I mean, there's plenty of them out there. The other one that pops in my head is the one with the strangers, was in the scene of the latest or last Strangers movie. The scene with the pool, and it had the same, just had that, I don't know, whatever. There's a bunch of them out there.
Yeah, there's been a bunch of that where you set like Happy, like Kingsman, I think the first movie that was like set to something, like where you basically set an absolute, horrific scene to a song that doesn't match and vice versa. Something like that. I thought that was really well done.
Looks like there's gonna be a brawl. You playing something good?
Hell yeah! Rolling Stones, street fighting, man. G7!
You just hit G8.
If you like pina coladas.
I thought it was cool. I mean, I have questions on, like, obviously V was already established, so this must be the Project Odessa version of V that they were taking. And it was interesting the way the different dudes fell apart. One dude starting on fire or whatever. Like, the one dude's guts were doing something, the other dude's skin was falling off, and then the one dude had, like, the butcher shit, right? The tentacles, but coming out his ass. That makes me wonder. We saw something in Diabolical like this where a tumor got injected with V and basically became sentient. Is that kind of what that is, where, like, you have cancer, more or less, and then you get V, and then the cancer becomes its own entity? Is that kind of what they're showing us, maybe? Maybe that dude had the butt cancer?
Sounds like you're hitting that one right on the nail on the head there, man. That might be exactly what's happening. If it wasn't that, I would be surprised. That makes sense. Adds up.
That's the only thing I can think of, because they went really out of their way to kind of show that, right? The very specific tentacle power, which you've only seen with Butcher, and then the one rabbit that took the temp V, which caused cancer, and then the regular V after that, which, basically had the same thing with Butcher. So, yeah, I thought that was, just an interesting thing to keep an eye on. So I don't know if that's like a superpower or not. Does that make it more powerful? I'm not really sure how it works, but again, it seems to be, pretty fucking badass for what it's worth. And not as badass as the idea of Kate and Sam starring in a body swapping movie, Flipped. I don't really care, but I think it would have just been awesome if Amazon Prime would have actually made that movie and released it out there like as like a supplemental material. Wouldn't even have to be like a big budget movie or anything like that. I just think it would have been like incredibly meta for them to just shoot that like some kind of 80-minute, cheesy ass body swap movie. I'd have watched it once.
I think that would be a great little. I think that would be a great little side whatnot, and I would not be. It would. I think it's still on the table. If it comes out like
it should be.
Year,
I mean,
you're like, oh,
here's why not?
Yeah, it should. Why not? Yeah, have it come out in like 6 months or whatever the fuck.
People would watch it ironically at least.
Just slide it in there, man. Be like, oh, here's the movie, a little spin-off, fucking whatever the fuck, I like it. That's how you throw a fucking rope right there, dude.
Oh, dude. And speaking of that, like we saw some of the Marie fight with the Homelanders in the trailer. I thought it was pretty good, but I especially liked the shot kind of you had from under the truck behind the truck nuts where all the dudes surround her. And then later in the fight, she kind of takes the truck nuts with the blood rope and throws it into the dudes. I thought that was a pretty well done fight overall.
I love truck nuts for one.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, they exist. It's a real thing. And,
Yeah,
it's funny. Maybe you shout out to Andre, because they're metal. You'd think, be the metallic dude using it, but she just blood ropes it.
blood roping the fucking truck
That's got to
nuts.
be tiring, though, right? I get, like, you make ropes, but it's still like she has to, like, pull the rope. That's got to be kind of exhausting. I mean, think about it though. I think Newman even said that to her, like when they had their scene in season one, like the whole like just pop their heads is way more effective. Like it just takes
Yeah,
way less effort, I feel.
it's exhausting fucking pulling ropes, dude. Throwing ropes.
Yeah, be they blood or other. And speaking of that, the fraternity scenes, we talked about most of this, but I especially like they had the one scene where everyone's chugging. Like you had the one dude like chugging regular, and then you had the butt chugger, which just a nice reference. And then Jordan gets pissed and then makes the butt chugger like expel over everybody. And then you hear the one chick complaining about getting pink eye. I'm almost positive that's just a callback to season 4 of The Boys when Splinter was having like the daisy chain with himself and then got pink eye.
Oh
So
yeah,
I thought that
yeah,
was like a nice deep cut
yeah.
callback there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we probably can't say much more about the fight between Marie and Dognot. You saw most of it in the trailer. I did like the little bit where she's got him in the toilet, like, with the water in it, and he flushes the toilet I've seen that like once before, but I thought that was at least kind of interesting. Not a lot else there. Just it was a good fight, but then Starlight kind of just comes in and kicks ass. But, it is what it is.
Well, here's the thing, man. If you got somebody in your well, if you're trying to give them a swirly, that's when you stick somebody's head in the toilet and flush it, right? If you're trying to drown somebody in a toilet, why the fuck flush it? Now you're giving it another chance.
Right, you would not flush it. He was in there fully flushed. I forget what movie it was, but they definitely did. You've seen that in plenty of movies.
Lebowski, dude.
But no,
Lebowski
someone did it very
cartel.
specifically in a comedy where the toilet was like had not been flushed yet, so it was like,
Oh
there
yeah.
was existing in there, which
And the
made it
fucking
way
seat
way
stuff,
more.
man.
I mean, a little, just it took it to a whole new level.
You left a floater in his toilet?
That was there when I got here.
At Soup, if you had a choice, would you rather consume Firecrackers Freedom Sticks or a Brave Maeve Pride Pie? Keep in mind the Brave Maeve Pride Pie contains enough fiber to cause kidney failure.
Wow.
And also probably brick a toilet.
I mean, a Brave Maeve Pride Pie sounds fucking
Like a
interesting.
porno.
And yeah, absolutely.
It
Man.
sounds like a lesbian porno, but that's not here or there. You know where you shoot your lesbian porno? The Cozy Motel.
That's what.
Great naming. I love little
I heard that place
background
is
gags
popping
like
off. Yeah.
love background gags like that. And the idea, like, we talked about everything in this universe is Vought. The idea that their music streaming service is Vaughtify is perfect.
What they call the burger joint too is a fucking burger or something.
A Vaughtaburger, I think. Instead of Whataburger, I think it's Vaughtaburger. They're everywhere, dude.
Yeah, they got a finger in everything, dude.
Oh, and I mentioned it before. I shout out the artist Nazareth, Hair of the Dog. That was kind of the metal song that played in the intro to Dognot. I thought this was probably the best episode 1 for the needle drops. Even went out in Stevie Nicks. Definitely a little bit more old school. We talked about that. Generally the Boys soundtrack tends to be up, more of our alley, where the Gen V soundtrack skews a little bit younger. So I thought that was really cool that, you got Frankie Valli, Stevie Nicks, a couple of, older artists, really doing things
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, totally agree with that, man. The soundtrack, you're right, dude. Thinking back, soundtrack was pretty solid on the first episode, man. Very solid.
Yeah, there's not a lot in 2, and then 3 is a lot more modern artists. So, I thought it was a kind of a nice progression there. Again, I always enjoy the soundtracks, man. I'm a music man at heart. I can't make it, but I enjoy listening to it. And that's who we are. We're not making shows, but we enjoy handing out awards to them.
Then what?
Well, then you move up the rankings, and I cannot overemphasize the importance of the rankings.
And we've heard Cypher say it, the rankings are of the utmost importance here. So we're going to go ahead and give our top 5 students, players, whatever you want to call them, top 5 for the first episode, season 2 of Gen V. Soup, I will go first here. I'm going to start with number 5, work the way up to number 1. At 5, I'm going to go with Jordan. I think Jordan and Emma had pretty similar experiences in episode 1, so I'm going to put Jordan 5, Emma 4. At number 3, got to throw Cypher in there. Very solid intro. very menacing. He had the good speech there. He's definitely setting it up against the humans. He's very intimidating to Kate with the blender scene. Thought he was very good. At 2, going to go with Marie. Good again, fight against Dognot here. I like the fight against the Homelanders. Couple of solid action scenes. Gets a scene with Starlight. But at number 1, dude, I gotta go with the dog. With the Dognot. Came out of nowhere. Enjoyed him very much. Again, good fight scene, very funny, very entertaining. Glad he's going to be sticking around. So that's going to be my top 5. 1 Dognot, 2 Marie, 3 Cypher, 4 Emma, 5 Jordan. Soup, give us your top 5, brother.
Episode 1, top 5. All right, so I got a little bit different than you, man. I'm giving 5 to Starlight just for being there. Not that she did a whole. Well, she did.
She was my first one off. She was the first one off my list.
So I got Starlight at 5, man. I got Dognot at 4, right there behind them. So I had him at 4, and then I had Marie at 3. I had fucking Polarity at 2, and then I had Cypher at 1 because I thought he came out there and fucking made his presence felt in the first episode, man. So I got to give him the number 1, dude.
All right, dude. I mean, he is a Cypher. He could be anything, to put it in Family Guy parlance. He could even be a boat. So I think that's what the Soup's got there. 5 Starlight, 4 Dognot, 3 Marie, 2 Polarity, number 1 Cypher. Let's move on to our grades. We're going to grade each episode of Gen V on a scale of 0 to 100 Vought coins. Soup, what do you got for us here, man? I know you tend to be a little bit more loose than the coin. We've covered Always Sunny. Like you gave out a full hundo, but how many coins are you willing to spare here for the first episode of season 1?
Yeah, I think the first episode here, I'm not gonna throw it out there like that, man. I'm gonna go a little bit more. I'm not gonna be frugal. I'm still gonna be, probably generous in my decision. Whatever the fuck,
judicious,
man.
probably judicious.
There we go. But yeah, maybe not just as much throwing it out there. Anyway, unless it deserves it. Now, this doesn't deserve it, but I'm going straight up 90. Boom, 90. Way to start it out, man.
That feels like a pretty standard 90 from the Soup. I am going to go with 84 Vought coin. Enjoyed it, but I want to leave some room for growth here. Not an epic episode, but I think it did a good job of doing everything that you kind of needed to do. Set everything up. Does a good job of getting us ready for episodes 2 and 3. So I'm at 84. Soup's at 90. We still got some Vought coin in the wallet, but it is on to episode 2 of season 2. Justice Never Forgets. This is the 10th overall episode of Gen V. Also released September 17th, 2025. Directed by Steve Boyum. Written by Jessica Chow. Special guest stars are Chase Crawford as the Deep and Valerie Curry as Firecracker. Guest stars are Zach McGowan as Dognot, Alexander Calvert as Rufus, Stefan Garino as the Rememberer, Stacey McGonigal as Student Life Stacy, Maya J as Justine, Tate Fletcher as Vicor, Stephen Thomas Kalin as Greg, Kira Golan as Modesty Monarch, and Jessica Clement as Harper. Soup, again, another kind of fun one here. I did like that they kind of went a little bit nuts here with Kate. They make her stab the other nurse in the eye. You get the blood at the end of the scene. I thought that was cool, kind of setting her up to be crazy. But overall, I thought this was a great episode for Polarity. He gets a scene with Cypher we talked about. We were not quite sure if Cypher knows that he's really coming back to kind of avenge the death of his son. And again, you get the scene with Polarity, the Rememberer, and Emma. All of that is a good time. Dude, how about, we didn't mention her before, how about Modesty Monarch? The chick with the wings, we're not sure if they work or not. She seemed like the absolute kind of worst, right? A, she's super in the sheets, but obedient in the sheets. And then B, she churns her own butter. Is that a euphemism, or do you think she actually churns her own butter?
For one, I think she churns her own butter, and I fucking love that she's churning her own butter, man. Yeah.
That was a fun one overall. Like, even just the way she, like, when she's talking about, dare I say, fuckable? Like, it was the most, like, condescending reference to somebody being fuckable I've ever heard, kind of. I thought that was kind of fun, And so, again, minor prediction. I think we're going to see her, like, use those wings by the end of the season. So we'll see if that actually happens or not.
I hope so.
And in the crowd, it was just a nice, kind of real subtle moment when she talked about also taking the big objects up her ass. Like, you see Justine in the crowd, and she looks at the dude who was doing the butt chugging thing sitting right next to her. Like, I thought that was just a nice little callback moment there. Dude, how about Vicor? We talked about it a little bit. We saw him in the trailer. pretty badass, right? Like the deep throat my hammer line was a little bit over the top, but I thought it was fun. Like he had a little bit of kind of just a little bit of energy and a little bit of just kind of badassness. Like on the way out, he's just kind of giving like the little jerk off motion, and I don't know. I thought overall kind of badass, and he's got to be involved in some kind of big set piece by the end of the season, right?
Yeah, I think this is a
Like
good
bigger than
character, man.
this.
For what it is, you got to have a huge like if you're gonna do something like that, it's got to be some on that scale. Like, man, I mean, you can't just bring out Beef Supreme. Nothing against Beef Supreme, even if he comes out of retirement, dude. But you got to bring this guy out, man. You know.
That'd be hysterical if they literally just did Idiocracy where he comes out and then
And
he
Beef
gets all the
Supreme
rocks
is
dropped
coming
on
out of
him. Right, and then they fight somebody else and then he fights his way out from under the rocks. That would be pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah, maybe that might be cool. um, yeah.
Shout out, Jordan and Marie kind of teaming up here to get the job done. Like we saw Marie kind of try to stop his heart. Do you think she couldn't finish the job, or do you think she like was hesitating because she didn't want to kill him?
I feel like, well, obviously it could go either way. I like to think that she was trying to control it and be like, okay, well, that's right where I want it, and now she could go for the kill shot, or it's like, I got you, rendered fucking useless right now, So keep it like that, and maybe I don't have to kill you. I like that bet.
Yeah, I like that interpretation, dude. Let's go with that. And dude, is the Deep not just like the douchiest douchebag ever? Like that whole bit, like I love that when you see he's been the president of this fraternity for way longer than someone should be in college for. And then the whole idea, dude, he holds up that like giant wooden dildo. I'm assuming it's supposed to be. And that was nasty, dude. When he tossed it to Rufus though, and then calls him dickless, I have to admit I laughed.
Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty bad if you're like, lower on the totem pole than the Deep. And you get the idea, like when Sam asks him about like, oh, you're gonna avenge Kate or whatever. He's like, oh yeah, Homelander's on that. Like, I get the idea that the Deep is not at all like in the inner circle or whatever. So that's why he's there still messing with these guys because he's still, like no one really actually respects him.
Right. Oh yeah, of course. That's kind of what it is, though, man. It's always been like that with him, dude.
Yeah, and with the Deep gets respect, the show's over almost. Like that's the although either that like the world ends and the Deep is left to like rule like the world by himself or something, whatever.
With a few octopi. Yeah, man.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, if Homelander doesn't make him eat them all before the end of it, dude. R.I.P. Timothy, dude. R.I.P. Timothy. So this was a fun one. And to shout out Maverick back in the mix. Did not die at the end of season one. He is a translucent son, the invisible dude. Just you see him with the glasses and the hat a couple of times here. So he's still kicking around. We get a firecracker cameo. She does more than funnel cake. She's still doing her show on Vought Plus or Vought News or what have you. Let's get into the award tour here. Same thing. We're going to do our top 5 rankings first. You got to do the rankings, Cypher says they're very, very important. Soup, I'll go first again here at 5. I'm going to go with Vicor. Just thought he was really fun, very badass. Got a couple of good lines, nice action scenes, so he's a solid 5 for me. At 4, I'm going to go with the Rememberer. It's mostly just because I love the concept of the Rememberer. I'm pretty sure it's been done before and it was kind of a gag, but I love the way this dude brought it to life. At 3, I'm going to go with Jordan, mostly because the way they talked about the story with Andre trying to break the Guinness World Record for the joints. That was kind of my tiebreaker to get them in there. At 2, going with Polarity. I think this was his best episode, talking to Cypher, teaming up with Emma, and then going with Emma at 1. I thought she was great in this episode, especially everything with her kind of on the drugs, getting big, finding the secret room, all that stuff I thought was really great. So that's me. 1 Emma, 2 Polarity, 3 Jordan, 4 the Rememberer, and 5 Vicor. Soup, episode 2, top 5. Who you got for us?
Starting at number 5, man. I've got the
Many errors as you want, dude.
Yeah, as many errors as you want, dude. At number 5, remember. Yeah. At number 4, I put Emma at number 4, although she did. Yeah, she could have been ranked higher than that, but anyway, she's in there, number 4. Solid. I've got fucking Vicor at number 3. This is a good character, man. A lot of potential here. I feel like we're going to see him again. I like the way that played out. So, see where that goes. Number 2, I have Marie. And number 1, I have Jordan.
Nice. All right. So those are the soups. 1, Jordan. 2, Marie. 3, Vicor. 4, Emma. 5, the Remember. So that brings us to our episode grades. Soup, you were straight 90 in episode 1. What are you giving episode 2?
Giving episode 2 Crazy 88s, man.
And Soup, all right, so you were in 88 in episode 2, 90 in episode 1. I am slightly up on episode 2. I'm going to go with 86. Volcoin, I was 84 in episode 1. That is mostly because I loved everything with Polarity, Emma, and the Rememberer. I thought that was awesome. So it was kind of the one thing that really kind of stuck out to me. And I remembered, when I'm trying to differentiate between these episodes, that is what I just remember as being one of my favorite scenes. So it took it over the top a little bit for me.
Got to have the differentiator to figure that one out.
Oh, I love all the the decider. He's also great too. I love the That brings us into season 2, episode 3. This is H is for Human. This is the 11th overall episode of Gen V. Once again, released September 17th, 2025, along with the first 3 episodes of season 2. Directed by Karen Gaviola and written by Cameron Squires. Special guest stars are Judith Scott as Pam. Guest stars include Stacey McGonigal as Student Life Stacy, Maya J. as Justine, Georgie Murphy as Allie, and Jessica Clement as Harper. I thought it was kind of interesting to start out this episode with a human's perspective, right? We don't have really any humans in the main cast at this point. So seeing this chick on the bus, being nervous, having to go through all the checkpoints and everything, I thought was kind of tense or whatever. And it reminds you, I don't fly a lot, but you feel like the TSA is bad. Like, I'm not sure how that soup was evaluating people, but he's definitely got at least X-ray vision, I would think.
It's something, man. It's X-ray vision. It might be what's the shit called with the scanners?
The full body scan or whatever, basically,
whatever.
Yeah. Or an MRI or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's more
MRI, X-ray.
It was cool because his eyes went straight fucking white and then back to whatever the fuck, And it took him a minute, and it was like, go on. Yeah. But I think they're scanning for superpowers,
Yeah, right. Or you have to see if they're human or if they're hiding any whatever. Yeah, just I don't really want to go through any security if I don't have to, but that one seems particularly bad. Felt pretty bad for that chick overall. We get the whole fucking Frodo scene from the trailer we discussed before. I kind of like Polarity, the idea here that he is an adult. Like, you start out the episode, everyone's at his house, and I was like, I was just thinking about skipping class today or whatever and hanging out. He's like, dude, what I really meant was you get the fuck out of here. Like, I really like just kind of that idea of having an adult in the mix. I think, it's not like he's incredibly older than them or anything like that, but I think it's an interesting contrast, and I think they're all kind of like looking for somebody like that, not necessarily be a leader, but give them kind of a little bit of guidance or whatever. I thought really fun was those posters.
Yeah, they need a little bit of leadership and guidance, man, from like a weathered, experienced.
Yeah, someone who's been there before, basically. Yeah, 100%. Right, like the rookie quarterback you need your Ryan Fitzpatrick there to guide you, along the way or whatever. I thought the banners of Jordan were actually cool. Like, you see there's sometimes the stuff that changes based on your perspective. So because they're a gender bender, like the idea, like if you looked one way it was the female, one way it was the male version. I thought that was actually kind of nifty. I never really saw that before.
Good usage of. Well,
right, yeah, the whole blind gender thing.
Yeah, they had the posters and everything. Like, there were things like, I mean, look at it this way, it's that, this way, it's that. I mean, I'm a big fan of that kind of shit, though, man.
Oh, so you were able to see the sailboat then?
No, I could never see the sailboat, though.
You never see the sailboat. You can't unfocus your eyes.
Same thing, different, right? Yeah, man. But I could never see the sailboat, man.
Oh yeah, look, it's a sailboat. You saw it too. Damn it!
The boys is very good with their kind of random insults and various whatnot. One thing I thought was kind of hysterical, like an undercut, a dramatic moment, but when Kate goes to the dean's house, she sees the floor and she pictures like Indira's dead body when she made her kill herself. And then Cypher comes out and he's like, oh yeah, dude, I apologize for the rug looking like a Dairy Queen's afterbirth.
Yeah. Do you think he knew that she was seeing that shit?
I don't know, but the fact that it kind of looks like, I guess, like the swirl ice cream, right? Like chocolate, vanilla kind of swirled together. But the idea of like the Dairy Queen's afterbirth, I never in a million years like would have ever actually thought of that.
Oh no, that's pretty fucking disgusting and terrifying. But yeah,
yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, it's all at the same time. I think that's pretty interesting. I mean, you get a lot of that in this episode. You get Emma tracking down Harper and figuring out that, she's the one who's doing or at least participating through putting up the flyers and that kind of thing. And then, like, her power isn't just tail. I thought that was a great line by Emma. I thought your powers were tail. And then, she does the whole chameleon thing.
I'm sorry. Here's where I was confused, though, man. Like, who was she chasing through the locker room and shit? Was she, I mean, it wasn't her, right?
It was her. She must have stolen a speedster's powers. I'm assuming one of the other chicks in the group is a speedster or something, because she can use her powers for like 60 seconds. Because at the end, she touches the one like dude who was lighting the blunt or whatever with his finger, and then uses that to like shoot a fireball. But she still seems to be able to also go fast. So I don't know if she could like stack powers. You know what I mean? Like if you touch three people real quick and you lose like all three powers for 60 seconds.
That's
It's kind of like Rogue, I think, in the X-Men is what they're going for, kind of a similar thing. But she doesn't seem to drain the other people's like, powers or life force when she does it. She seems to just be able to like straight up copy it.
That's pretty fucking cool, man.
And I mean, it's kind of interesting because maybe she can teach other people, about their powers. Because Emma's kind of pissed, like, you use my powers better than I do. Because she's able to get small and then get big again, and we see Emma struggling with that. So I don't know. Maybe there's something she can teach other people because of the way she can use them. Reminds me a little bit of the shifter we saw at the end of season 4 of The Boys that winds up being the assassin that copies Annie. Like it was more of a memories thing. I don't think she got her powers, but there's definitely kind of something like that in there.
Definitely something like that in there for sure.
Yeah, so something like that or of a similar substance. And again, I like Emma bringing it back around here. She kind of hypes up the rebellion people. She's not wrong when she's like, yeah, it's nice that you're leaving flyers and shit, but we need to like really do something. When she says sabotage, the fact that I guess they couldn't afford the Beastie Boys needle drop in the background, at least play it in the background. Like if someone says sabotage like that, you play sabotage. I'm sorry. You have to. I'm sure it's expensive as shit. I'm sure it is. Like even in the background, it's like $100K or something. Just find a way to make it work. But again, her like inspiring them with the way Andre inspired her. I remember that from early season 2. They're sitting outside smoking a joint, and he gets her to like, hey, I need you because you can get Little to go in there and eventually find Sam. Kind of kicking off, the main events of this series. I thought was, a really nice job of writing, kind of bringing it back around. Kind of about the same point of season 2 that was in season 1. So again, good thing. And dude, I love that Avenue V actually exists. The cartoon there, the Sesame Street style thing. Because in season 1, I wasn't sure if Sam was just making it up in his head. I thought it was actually cool to see it. And again, how has Amazon not produced like at least like 5-10 minute episodes of Avenue V?
Dude, I'm hoping we get that too, man. Just throw these out as shorts a little bit. Like throw some teasers out in the off season, dude. People love that shit.
Oh, I would eat that up. Shit. Like it's not like I would, care that much, but I would certainly watch it.
Yeah, keep you interested. Of course you will, dude. Any fan of the show is gonna watch that shit, man. Put it out there, dude. Fuck, that's a brilliant idea. Just sprinkle shit.
Right, and see, Chance Crawford is down for this. Like he's willing to show up as the Deep anytime, anywhere.
2 years till the next shit comes out. Sprinkle some little shit like that.
Yeah, I want some Avenue V, dude. Give us some Avenue V, some Little Cricket, dude. A little bit of all this, dude. Basically, I think we're there for that.
Fingers crossed.
Dude, I'd love to get more Diabolical. That would absolutely be great. Until then, I'll just have to keep rereading the comics. And we talked about it, episode 1, pretty solid soundtrack. Nice throwback season or episode 2. Not as much on the soundtrack. Episode 3, they went more modern. Olivia Rodrigo, Chappelle Roan, and St. Vincent. I only bring it up because, hey, shout out to the new artists doing their things, even if they're not necessarily right up our alleys. But St. Vincent, you might remember that because all over the season 4 soundtrack of The Bear. So a little bit of carryover here between whatnot. And that brings us to the award tour for season 2, episode 3. Once again, going to kick it off with the rankings because they are oh so important. My top 5 from bottom to top. At number 5, going with Harper, dude. I like that she's back. I like that she's the chameleon. Seems to be in control of some powers. It could be an interesting new character to add to the mix. At number 4, gotta put Sam in there, dude, just for the fight scene with Jordan, the hangout scene with Jordan, the puppet stuff. Very, very good. I normally want to be higher, but I gotta give it up a little bit here for Marie. She had the scene with Aunt Pam. I'm putting her at 2, basically for that. Like, that was a big deal for her. I think confronting her past, kind of moving on, hopefully getting closer to talking to Annabeth, her sister. At 2, still going to go with Emma here. She's connecting the storyline. She's starting to lead the rebellion. Very excited about where the character is going to go. And then finally, I'm going to give it up to Jordan at 1 because Jordan is number 1 in the episode. And they do admit to Marie. They say, I love you. And then they get on stage and tell the truth. That took balls. It changed the whole complexion of the season. So that's where I'm going. 1 Jordan, 2 Emma, 3 Marie, 4 Sam, 5 Harper. Soup, who's your top 5?
All right, so this is a pretty good one, man. Like, I really enjoyed this episode, and I think everybody in this episode did a fantastic job, just like every other one. But this one made it particularly tough, kind of, just because there were a couple of standouts. You know, not that there isn't always, and not take anything away from the other episodes, but whatever. With this one, I had a little bit more of a time picking and choosing. But here's what I went with. I'm gonna stick with what's on the paper. Number 5, I'm going with the fucking sandwich. The sandwich that talks.
Oh!
The fucking tuna salad sandwich or whatever the fuck it is, the fucking sandwich gets number 5, man, because that's kind of what it was a stepping stone. It was a pivotal moment and yeah, catalyst. It was a catalyst sandwich gets number 5. And then I'm giving number 4 to Sam. We're going right there, sticking with Sam at number 4, man. Did a great episode, dude. You know, a lot of solid acting there, man. Good piece of good fucking character development in this episode for Sam. Going places. Still kind of one of those, I don't know.
He's working from a going places into a trading places. We'll see if we can get Dan Aykroyd or Eddie Murphy involved.
Yeah, I feel like he's pretty unstable. He's always kind of like, but he gives that vibe of like very unstable. Like he can go anyway, wishy-washy, so can you trust him fully? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, here he is. Number 3, going with Emma at number 3, dude. Emma's just been crushing it this season. Every episode she's so far as 3 deep, she's just been on fire pretty much, man. So she's right there. Number 2 goes to Marie because she had a fucking awesome episode too, man. You know, you knew it was going to be the drama scene with meeting the Pam and everything else, and I think that went well. It was a lot of insight to things that are going to open up as the season unfolds. You know, so I thought that was a very cool scene there. So you know that and everything else she did in the episode gives her the number 2. Number 1 goes to Jordan because, I mean, how could it not? You know.
I love all those. Soup had Jordan at 1, Marie 2, Emma 3, Sam 4, and the sandwich at 5. And dude, I am so I can't believe I missed on the sandwich. I love the sandwich. It makes me wonder. I didn't see the name in the credits, like because I know Seth Rogen always used to do a boys cameo. I'm kind of wondering now, like a Keanu Reeves had a random Severance cameo as an animated character. So sometimes when you get these animated characters, you know, it can be like a random cameo like that. So I'm kind of curious as if if it was just a normal voice actor doing the sandwich, or if it was like kind of a creeper cameo. So that's something
we got to find out who voiced the sandwich.
Yeah, very, very. Again, especially I'm there for that show too. If they want to do, bring in Sam's Puppet World, either tie it into Avenue V or not, I'm there for it either way. Like I'm there for the Drugachusetts version of whatever Sam is predicting, basically, right? Because that's what it feels like, the Mr. Show sketch.
Fuck yeah, they did.
The altered states of Drugachusetts, right? If I remember correctly. So shout out Mr. Show.
Absolutely. Going back to the time capsule, dude, with Sam Krabby.
Yeah, it's season 3 of Mr. Show, season 2, season 3. I'm forgetting one of the two. It's right in there. Mid run, Mr. Show. Let's move on to our grades. Soup, thus far, you've been pretty high. You went 90 Volcoin for episode 1. You went 88 Volcoin for episode 2. How many given episode 3?
Episode 3 is going to go up a notch a little bit, man. We're going to go. I'm giving episode 3 a 92, man. 92.
92. All right. I'm kind of going to split the difference here. I'm going to go with an 85. So higher than 1, slightly lower than 2. Again, at the end of the day, I think these really feel like almost one giant episode or one small movie or something like that. It's definitely, I feel like the first act, more or less, the way they did it. So they do run together. So it was tough for me to get way higher on one than the other. I was highest on 2, basically, because I think my favorite sequence was Polarity, Emma, and the Rememberer joint. So that's why I was just a touch higher on that one. But again, I don't think there's ever been a bad episode of Gen V or The Boys. So, we'll take what we can get. We generally hand out as much Volcoin as we can afford to do. Let's close things out with a couple predictions, couple theories, something like that. Soup, this is the big one for me. I can't tell if it's too obvious, if it's a red herring, or if I'm just nuts. But, you get the end of the flashback episode 1. It seems like, Thomas Godolkin might have died. But, dude, isn't Cypher Thomas Godolkin? If you look at him, they're kind of similar looking. You don't know how he ages, and then when you see like when Pam refers to him, he's Dr. Gold, Dr. Godolkin. Like, is it too obvious? Am I crazy? But I feel like he's either Thomas Godolkin or we're supposed to think that he is. Am I
Yeah,
nuts?
dude, no, I think your nuts are right on point there, man. You're, I
Kind of
mean,
similar curly hair, you know what I mean? Like it's
yeah.
just different enough. Like it's a different actor that plays the two. It's Hamish Linklater and Ethan
That's
Slater,
fucking
but
interesting, man. That's fucking interesting, dude. That's definitely a possibility there, man. And it kind of almost makes sense, like
he
where
looks
that,
very similar to
uh,
as he does now in the picture of Marie as a baby. So is it really that? He was there with the access. You don't see him die in a show like this. Like he didn't seem to be wounded. He kind of passed out reaching for the fire alarm, but it didn't seem like he got really fucked up or anything. So that's kind of my main prediction. Maybe it's a red herring. They're trying to make us think that, but it kind of even when they called him Dr. Gold, like I'm like, oh God, all right. So this seems like I think they're trying to tell us, but I'm not 100% sure. So that's kind of like my big overall prediction.
I love that, dude. I absolutely think that would be 100% possible. I mean, it is 100% possible, but wow, yeah, bold fucking prediction. I love it, dude. I mean, actually, not even bold. I see, yeah, it is, but
I mean, we've
whatever.
seen pictures,
Impressive,
but they
right?
look the curly hair, they're not dissimilar. You know what I mean?
Good
Like,
call, dude.
I
Yeah,
think we're
good
at
call.
least supposed to consider that that's a possibility. Like, I don't know if it's guaranteed, but I hope we do get more of the flashback stuff. I think we're going to. Again, I think I called that in the preseason, but because that would tie nicely into the Vought Rising prequel they're going to do with Soldier Boy and and Stormfront. And then we hear, I mentioned it before, but the fact that Emma mentions that Cypher worked at the Vought Mexico City office, that makes it feel like to me that the Boys Mexico spinoff is going to happen. And this might be the setup for it. And I think that could be cool. Other big one here, man, I think I mentioned it before, but who is Annie working with? I'm saying it's Marie's sister. Like she is a soup because she was born like there is no way that Marie's parents were infertile. Then they had all these treatments and all of a sudden they have a kid and then she doesn't have powers. It would be too weird. They're building it up too much. I feel like
Yeah.
Marie's sister has to be an integral character. And so I think it makes sense. And that's how she knows to put Starlight onto Marie and Odessa like that.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're absolutely right with that one, man. And if
Would
that
you
didn't
be
happen,
disappointed if Annabeth isn't that big of a character? If she really is just like a regular person's sister and she just like Marie meets her in one episode and she forgives her or something and then it's done? Or do you want her to be a bigger part of it?
if they're gonna take the time to do what they're already leading into, man, and I mean they're luring us, man. You
It
know,
feels like it has to, right?
unless there's something else to counter that, to come out as that much bigger than what it would be if they followed through with that part of it, then maybe. But no, it is. It's a matter of for me. I'm thinking it's a matter of when. It might not even be this season. They might prolong it as like maybe we don't even meet this character, but it's talked about a lot until next season.
Or one of those like the final scene, like in a stinger or
Uh,
something, like Marvel
right.
style. Especially if this is going to carry over into season 5 of The Boys. And then
Right.
like, she's going to start appearing there as a more major character or something like that. That would probably make a lot of
Could
sense.
be, yeah. It could be a could be a major character in the boys, right? For the last season, who knows, man?
And how about obviously it's like Chekhov's gun. You got the chick Stacy and her stinger. She talks about it like
They
she'll
fear to
die
fuck.
like using it, but she's got to use it on somebody. Dude, I feel like Kate's gonna regain her powers at some point and make her sting herself.
Hmm. I'd be down
Is
for
there a
that.
fun like I feel like I don't know how powerful it is, but they've set up this stinger, right? So I feel like she has to die. She's got to use the stinger, and something big's got to happen
It's
with it.
gonna, yeah, it's gonna be, yeah. There's definitely gonna be that stinger's gonna get set off. That's for sure, man. I put $100 on that, man.
Yeah, that's well, if yeah, fold the money on it, dude. I'll put that
Monopoly
to the
dollars. $100.
right. We'll write it down. We'll see. We'll at least take your go money a couple of times around there. And dude, how about the rankings themselves? Like Cypher is very insistent. Like you cannot fuck with the rankings. The rankings are of utmost importance. Do you think there's an in-show reason for that, or he's just trying to like to push them, or do you think like the rankings actually might like mean you kept some greater meaning or something like that?
I feel like a lot of it has to do with I don't know. It might be more complex than that. I feel like a lot of it has to do with this the trending social media shit that they're doing and the rankings and shit. Like plays a big factor in how they operate their fucking intricate webs of weaving their system of fucking education over there.
Oh, he brings the web weaver back around. That's wonderful. See, I'm kind of thinking like if he really is Thomas Godolkin and he is doing some kind of experiment shit, like maybe getting the number one, like gets you like you get to be the first trial patient of the new shit or something like that. Starlet mentioned they're like restarting Odessa. Maybe they're trying to make a bigger, better version of it. Maybe this is how Vaught's going to try to control Homelander. Maybe, like, you know what I mean? So how do you control Homelander? You need someone who can top him. And that's what Butcher's been trying to do with the virus, with Ryan, whatever. Maybe this is just their version of trying to find somebody who can put Homelander in check. That's, about as good as I got. Like, I love Polarity, dude. And we talked about this. He's going out in a blaze of glory, right? I'm going to be severely disappointed if, like, someone just takes him out easy. Like, I think he's going to go before the end of the season, but I want him to, like, go, like, really big, dude. Like, he talks about trying to take down Seven Tower. Like, I want to see him try.
Absolutely, man. I don't think they would do him justice, man, if they let it go any other way. I mean, it almost has to be something like that. It's got to be Blaze of Glory, dude. I almost even want the Young Guns
Right. We
song.
know, like, it'll pop him like Andre died the same way. If he tries something too hard, he'll stroke out or whatever. So what'll happen, but I'm there for him just trying and going way big at the end. Probably to save.
How about like a fucking real slow-mo, crazy, intense action scene to the tune of Blaze of Glory from Bon Jovi. Not that I really ever fucking am like Bon Jovi, but anyway, Blaze of Glory, Bon Jovi, the Young Guns song.
Yeah, it's a good tune.
They haven't really gone into the 80s like that, so maybe they throw a little
Young
fucking
Guns would fit with this, idea though of the younger college kids. Like,
the fight scene or whatever kind of scene it is on the Polarity, and then it's like Blaze of Glory, dude.
I'm trying to think because he can manipulate shit. What if he has to fight Vicor with Victoria Newman's statue, like manipulating it like Ghostbusters 2 style almost?
Yeah, or somebody's dildo. That would be fun.
Well, he can't use the Deeps one because that's made of wood, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah,
at least that's safe from polarity.
Yeah. There are people have metal dildos,
Yeah, God forbid you have an adamantium dildo or whatever. You're in deep shit, dude. So, Wolverine's claws better be careful.
You better bust out that periodic table of elements next time you're buying a dildo, man. Make sure you got a safe one, dude.
Yeah, I think that's fair in this day. That dishwashers, dishwashable, that kind of thing, dishwasher safe, all that same stuff. I mean, overall, I'd like that. I think they did the right amount of mix here. We got some answers, but there's still like a ton of shit we can speculate on. So I think it's right about where I want to be. And now I like that it's only going to be one episode dropping per week. So, now we'll have a little bit more time to kind of properly absorb everything. I think they did a good job structuring these 3 episodes to kind of, boom, get us back in the universe, especially because we haven't seen, this particular universe in 2 years outside of just the little Sam and Kate cameos in the 4th season of The Boys. So very excited for this, ready to rock and roll. And then hopefully after this, we'll be getting our episodes out on Friday or Saturday. Again, the drop in the 3, it was a rough week. The Bills played on Thursday Night Football. We did what we had to do, but very glad that Gen V is back and Compound B will be here to keep covering it. Soup, anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, real quick, man. A couple last minute predictions here, just in case, man. On the table here, I'm thinking, is old school Ashley going to make an appearance in Gen V before her reveal in the new season of The Boys?
Well, that would be interesting. I love some OG Ashley here. I think she would.
What if OG Ashley comes in? Because we don't know what the fuck happened to her.
What if she's got a tail now? What if she also has a tail?
She's gonna have something. She's gonna have something, dude. So
she's gonna definitely have something, dude.
So that's curious. If we don't find it out now, well, I'm sure we'll find it out in the new Boys. But might be a nice like end of the season. Hey, here's a teaser. OG Ashley, because she'd been in Gen V last season, right? Yeah.
More likely we see her or Homelander.
Yeah. I don't know. Probably I'd go with I think it's probably more likely we see Homelander, but I would rather see her,
Yeah, I feel like they're saving OG Ashley or the reveal, but I mean, again, if it's not Marie's sister, would it be crazy if she's the one working with Starlight, maybe? Maybe not impossible?
Nope, that's not impossible at all.
I mean, it's probably her, A-Train, Maeve. There's not a lot of other, options here. I mean,
Maeve
a legend.
Is on the table.
Yeah, I think they're going to bring, again, they keep just seeding it subtly with like Maids Pride bars and everything like that, or Pride Paws. I feel like even though she's kind of, deep powered right now. Like we saw that happen to Kamiko, and then she took some V. So if Maeve kind of wanted to get back into it, she probably could, and also would look really badass with the eye patch, I feel.
Yeah. Another quick question. Another quick question. I might throw out there real quick. Just maybe. Are we going to see any beat up livestock or wild game?
I think we saw one in the trailer or something like that. I mean, being college, you feel like that has to happen almost accidentally at some point.
Well, they might be dissecting frogs and shit up in there, so.
Oh, that's scary, but imagine like beat up lice or something, like beat up tiny insects.
Yeah.
That would be like the worst, dude. A beat up mosquito. Think about how bad mosquitoes are to begin with.
I fucking hate a mosquito, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be dude. Like
that could be a problem.
Imagine a hive of beat up wasps.
Dude, wasps are dicks. Yeah, definitely.
Right, you already have like killer wasps and carpenter. Yeah. That's so. I kind of like that actually. Instead of because we saw farm animals in season 4 of The Boys. Yeah, insects would be maybe a fun way to go, or something a little more creepy. Or birds. What
Fucking birds
pigeon,
are
dude.
too,
Pigeons are on the roof, dude.
Pigeons are on the roof, man. Don't be washing windows when there's pigeons on the roof. But anyway, what I was saying, man, I feel like the possibility. Damn, I had a good one. What was it?
Dude, imagine like a beat up whale or something gigantic. Like some ocean, like that would like counter the deep. How do you counter the deep, dude?
Get the deep involved. I want to see that.
Beat up great white shark, dude. I feel like they have to save that season 5 of The Boys because the water effects are crazy expensive. Like I feel like they have one big deep set piece left, but they're keeping their powder dry. But shout out Chase Garfield just keeping the deep like the douchiest dude ever.
Yeah.
Like, I loved all the shit with him rewatching season 4 of The Boys, like him lobotomizing Sage so they can like dirty bang watching the Ray J sex tape and then like eating Guy Fieri takeout. So good.
That's fucking awesome, dude. Again, like for more Boys episodes, but yeah, shit like if you have to lobotomize yourself.
Oh, and then the reveal that Black Noir was also banging Sage, but she didn't make him lobotomize her first. That is like just such a good sunning of the deep. That is amazing. Oh, we just feel bad we had to lose also Ashley in there. We're down to our one true Ashley, but we are the one true Compound B, a show about the boys. Thanks again for checking us out. We're presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. You can find our content wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff, and on the web at dudeswatchstuff.com. Try to keep it nice and easy to remember, just like the Flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe if you had fun. Please touch the thumb. I'm Magnum Mills with the Soupdeucer, and Soup is going to tell us, for the record, after this episode, Soup, what does the B in Compound B stand for?
This week, the B in Compound B stands for blood ropes.
Throwing ropes!
Can't take my eyes off you.